Hello and welcome to Clearview News. We are reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. In the news, Senator Danjuma Goje withdraws from Senate presidency race, endorses Lawan as National Assembly clerk, confirms receipt of proclamation letter of 9th Assembly. Zamfara Governor Bello Matawalle suspends Emir of Maru and district head of Kunama for alleged involvement in armed banditry. And African Union suspends Sudan's membership amid killing of dozens in upsurge of violence. I am Nten Ekpan with details of these and other stories. Senator Danjuma Goje has withdrawn from Senate presidency election expected to hold on June 11 and endorsed the Senate leader Ahmed Lawan for the position. Governor Nasser El-Rufai of Kaduna State disclosed this after meeting behind closed doors with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja. Governor El-Rufai was in company of Senators Lawan Goje and Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly matters, Senator Itayanam, while briefing State House correspondents.
To report to you that we just came out of a meeting with our leader and mentor, the President, with distinguished Senator Danjuma Goje from Gombe and distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawan from Yobe and Senator-elect Ubasani from my state to discuss steps to unify our leadership in the National Assembly, starting with the Senate. I'm very pleased to announce that distinguished Senator Goje has agreed to fully endorse and support the choice of the party and that of Mr. President to lead the Senate, that is Senator Ahmed Lawan.
The calls have come from across the country. I have listened to them. I appreciate them and I thank them very well. But I want to say that as an elder man, because I've been in this game for a long time, by my age, I should be able to appreciate leadership coming from our elders. So in spite of all this costs, in spite of the support I have among my colleagues, senators-elect, I have decided, in difference to the loyalty I have for His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, and in difference to my loyalty to my party, APC, in the interest of the unity of our party and the development of this country, in order to assist Mr. President to deliver on his promises, I have decided to respect his wish by not declaring to contest this Senate presidency. Instead, I am supporting the position of the party and his own position, thereby endorsing the candidature of Senator Ahmed Lawan.
We have just come out of a closed-door meeting, as it were, just like His Excellency Governor Nasser El-Rufai said. And mine is to thank him and Man Nasru, the Governor of Kaduna State, for making it possible for us to achieve what we have achieved today. For me, this is a great day and a very important moment for the race or the contest for the office of the President of the Senate. The endorsement by Senator Goje is going to bring so much unity in the APC and indeed in the entire Senate in a very bipartisan fashion. I believe that that is the way to go, and we want to go there into the Ninth Senate united right from outside, kickstart our activities, very important at this time. The country needs a Senate that is focused and united for optimum performance.
The senator-elect for Kaduna Central Senatorial Zone, Malam Uba Sani, on Thursday, after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari, Governor Nasir El-Rufai and Senator Danjuma Goje in the State House, declared that Ahmed Lawan's aspiration of becoming Senate President of the 9th Assembly is sealed. Ubani Sani, who was in attendance of the Buhari's meeting in Aso Villa, where Goje stepped down for Lawan, commended President Buhari and Governor El-Rufai for the gesture. The senator-elect in a statement said Governor El-Rufai's leadership style is one that has placed democracy and good governance at the forefront of the nation's affairs. He said senators-elect of the ruling All Progressives Congress firmly resolved to speak with one voice and stand by the choice of the party, Senator Ahmed Lawan. He thanked Senator Danjuma Goje for accepting to step down from the race for the Senate presidency and instead work with all loyal party men and women for the emergence of Senator Lawan as the President of the Senate. Clerk of the National Assembly Mohammed Sani Omolori has confirmed receipt of the proclamation letter of the 9th Assembly. Omolori made the confirmation while briefing selected journalists in his office on Thursday. He said the letter by implication takes effect from 12 midnight on Saturday 8th of June. President Muhammadu Buhari had last week forwarded the letter to the clerk in fulfillment of provisions of Section 63 sub 4 of the Nigerian Constitution. Omolori's confirmation of the proclamation letter, however, comes as lawmakers in both chambers held valedictory sessions to mark the end of the 8th Assembly. The clerk is expected to officiate the proclamation and inauguration of the 9th Assembly on Tuesday, 11th of June, 2019. The National Assembly management has given outgoing members of the 8th Senate 3 days to hand over their official keys and office keys to the Assembly. The announcement was made by the Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki on Thursday at the beginning of the valedictory session of the 8th Assembly at the National Assembly in Abuja. The announcement was the fourth agenda on the order paper of the day. The 8th Senate, which was inaugurated on June 9, 2015, came to an end on June 6. Reading the letter by the Committee on Recovery and Preparation of the 8th Assembly Offices, Furniture and Equipment for 9th Senate titled Handing Over of Office Keys, Furniture Equipment, Saraki urged the lawmakers to hand them over between Thursday and Saturday. And away from the National Assembly, Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress APC, Mr. Yekini Nabena, has said that great harm could befall the ruling party if President Muhammadu Buhari does not intervene in the dispute between the National Chairman Comrade Adams Oshomole and his predecessor Chief John Odighi Oyegun and Deputy National Chairman North Senator Lawale Shuaibu. Describing the animosity between Oshomole and Oyegun as unnecessary and a distraction, he said it was weakening the governing party. Nabena called on Buhari as leader of the party to urgently embark on a fence-mending mission between stakeholders across many states, especially where the party lost in the 2019 general election. According to Nabena, the losses the APC suffered during the 2019 general elections in some states which were previously controlled by it is indeed worrisome. He said the APC remains the political party of choice for both Nigerians and politicians and urged aggrieved members to remain in the APC fold and settle their differences. The party recently charged its members who are not satisfied about how the party is being run to leave for the People's Democratic Party (PDP) if they so wish. Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello has proclaimed the 7th State House of Assembly according to the Nigerian Constitution of Section 105, subsection 3. He charged them to represent their constituencies well and better. Governor Bello promised not to disappoint the House as he urged them to remain united in order to achieve the purpose of which the Assembly is meant to achieve. And still staying in Kogi, the governor Yahaya Bello has commended religious leaders across the state for their contributions to the prevailing reign of peace and harmonious coexistence in the state. Governor Bello gave the commendation at the Government House, Lokoja, during a courtesy visit by the state chapter of the Nigerian Legion of Imams. The governor, who expressed delight on the visit by the Islamic clerics, urged them to sustain the existing peaceful relations between Islam and adherents of other religious bodies. He urged the association to disregard a particular poster in circulation recently in parts of the state comparing him with the revered Prophet Muhammad. On salary, the governor assured that efforts are on to clear all arrears of salaries, noting that he is committed to the advancement of the welfare of the people of the state. State chairman of the group, Imam Yusuf Abdullah, said they were on the visit to express the association's heartfelt gratitude to the governor for his kind gesture towards them. Former President Nigerian Meteorological Society Professor Benjamin Adewi has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to ensure the completion of Ajaokuta Steel Company during his second tenure. Adewi, in an interview in Abuja, said Buhari should ensure that the long moribund steel company became operational in his second tenure to boost the economy. He explained that the project, when completed, arms and ammunition, as well as cars, among others, that were now being imported, could be manufactured in the company. He said Nigeria will continue to suffer the repercussion of the negligence of Ajaokuta Steel as the country continues to depend on imported steel made from scrap materials. Adewi explained that some cases of buildings that collapsed after 5 to 6 years of completion were as a result of substandard steel made from scrap metals. He called for the development of metallurgical entrepreneurship to cater for welders, blacksmiths, and other micro-scale metal refiners and microcredit facilities to the steel sector. The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance (APGA) in the 2019 presidential election, Major General John Gbor, retired, has expressed full support for the declaration of June 12 as Democracy Day by President Muhammadu Buhari. He also asked Nigerians of all persuasions to bury their differences and support the president to take the nation to the next level. Major General Gbor was speaking this Thursday in Abuja when members of the Arewa Journalists Forum honored him with an award in recognition of his contributions to national development. Clearview TV's Busola Owor has the details.
Journalists present at retired Major General John Gbor's Abuja office did not cease to talk about the experiences with the APGA 2019 presidential candidate. He's been described as a man with listening ears and a lover of peace and unity, who after retirement from the Nigeria Army still deems it fit to continue to serve humanity.
We are here to identify with your remarkable achievement and development in the nation politics. Feel you are one of the northern illustrious sons. It's our duty for us to identify with you and to ginger you to do more and continue with the good contribution you are doing in the nation politics.
Presenting the award to Major General John Gbor is the Arewa Journalist Forum President, alongside other members of the Arewa Journalist Forum.
Democracy, good governance and service to mankind. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Responding to this gesture, Major General John Gbor described the role of the media as critical to promoting national unity, peace and progress of the country. Major General John Gbor, who expressed appreciation to the media for their support during his presidential campaign, seized the opportunity to bear his mind on the declaration of June 12 as Democracy Day by President Muhammadu Buhari. Setting aside political differences,
I recognize the positive role Nigerian journalists have consistently played for the unity and development of Nigeria. To be recognized and singled out for a meritorious award by Nigerian journalists, a critical segment of the national society, is definitely something that gladdens one's heart. Being fully aware that I did not have the type of money often associated with the politicians. Nigerian journalists voluntarily partnered with me to disseminate my agenda to the Nigerian public. I think President Muhammad Buhari has done the right thing by having gone into records, seeing what happened, and having discovered that Chief Abiola won the election. It is good that he has made it known to the public, because all along it has been difficult for anyone to know what actually happened, who actually won the election.
He urged Nigerians to support President Buhari to lead the country aright. He also urged all aggrieved to embrace peace in the interest of national unity and socio-economic development. Busola Oworu reporting for Clearview Television.
You're watching Clearview News. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll bring you more news. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and the rest of the news now. A federal high court in Lagos on Thursday adjourned until June 19 hearing in a debt recovery suit filed by the federal government against Shell Western Supply and Trading Limited over alleged $406.7 million shortfall in crude oil shipment. The suit was filed by federal government's counsel, Professor Fabian Ajogo-Essien. It has as defendants Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria Limited and its subsidiary Shell Western Supply and Trading Limited. The money was said to be for crude oil lifted in 2013 and 2014. The suit is pending before Justice Mojisola Olaterogun. The case was adjourned until June 19 due to the Eid al-Fitr celebrations. The new date has already been communicated to prospective parties. In the suit, the plaintiff is claiming the sum of $406.7 million from the defendants, representing the shortfall of money it paid into the federal government account with the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN). In a supporting affidavit, the federal government had accused the Anglo-Dutch company of not declaring or under-declaring crude oil shipments during the period. It said that this was following forensic analysis of bills of lading and shipping documents, alleging that Shell cheated Nigeria of deserving revenue. According to the affidavit, the consortium of experts tracked the global investments of the country's hydrocarbon, including crude oil and gas. The federal government is therefore seeking a court order to compel the two companies to pay $406.7 million, being the total value of the missing revenue and interest payment at 21% per annum. The High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja has discharged and acquitted the former Chief of Training and Operations of the Nigerian Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Olutayo Oguntoyinbo, of the offense of corruptly accepting 166 million naira gift from a contractor with NAF. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) had alleged that Oguntoyinbo, while being the Chief of Training and Operations of NAF and the sole signatory to the account of Space Web Integrated Services with Wema Bank PLC on July 11, 2014, corruptly accepted the 166 million naira gift from Société d'Equipement International Nigeria Limited in performance of his official act. In his judgment, Justice Olukayode Adeni ruled that the defendant was not guilty of the charge instituted against him, as the prosecution failed to prove the elements of the offense, which was alleged to be contrary to Section 17 A of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 and punishable under Section 17C of the same Act. In the judgment, Justice Adeni ordered that the said sum of 166 million naira erroneously recovered from Oguntoyimbo and deposited in the office of the National Security Advisor. Recovery account be returned to the Air Force officer through the EFCC. He ruled that in the final analysis, the prosecution, having failed to prove all the elements of the charge against the defendant beyond reasonable doubt, the court is bound to and hereby returns a verdict of not guilty for the defendant. Accordingly, the defendant is hereby discharged and acquitted of the one count preferred against him by the prosecution. The judge agreed with the defendant's lawyer, Mr. Joseph Dawood Wessian and Mr. Adedayo Adedeji, that the EFCC failed to prove that the said gift of 166 million naira given to the defendant by a representative of the contractor, Hima Abubakar, was an inducement. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons on Thursday sealed 2 brothels in Calabar for allegedly harboring underage commercial sex workers. The leader of NAPTIP operation team, Mr. Godwin Ayake, told newsmen that the operation followed an order of the Federal High Court in Calabar. Ayake said that the agency had earlier carried out a raid on the brothels after it was discovered that they were harboring underage girls for prostitution. Ayake, who is the Director of Operations Uyo Command of NAPTIP, described the use of underage girls for prostitution as very sad. He said that the agency was determined to rid the zone of child trafficking and prostitution. Dar Communications plc has alleged that its subsidiaries, Africa Independent Television and Ray Power FM, are being persecuted by the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) on instruction from the presidency. Its founder and chairman emeritus, High Chief Raymond Dokwesi, told a news conference at the company's corporate headquarters in Abuja this Thursday that he is in possession of private intelligence reports that several employees of the media outfit are being trailed by unidentified gunmen while exiting the office premises. Clearview TV's Rosa Wood was there and our reports.
Addressing newsmen at Dar corporate headquarters, Dr. C said the NBC had imposed several fines on AIT and Ray Power for its political commentaries, despite the use of editorials and commentaries by media organizations as a standard feature to communicate their positions on issues of public interest.
This government, represented by the National Broadcasting Commission and its various agencies, have pushed this organization to the wall, and I have no choice but come out very publicly to support this institution, which I contributed and devoted my whole life to building and supporting, to stand by it very firmly and defend it. I therefore cannot ignore our regulator, the National Broadcasting Commission today, that is under the leadership of a partisan politician by name Aisha Modibo Kawu, the Director General of the NBC. You all know that he was an aspirant of the APC for governorship of Kwara State before the recently concluded general elections in Nigeria. Is such a person in a position to regulate freely and fairly? Is it devoid of partisan interest in regulating the industry? The fact that he lost his primaries and returned to resume office as Director General of Police, is it in itself not despicable? In spite of the Global Broadcast Network license granted to Dar Communications PLC by General Sani Abacha administration way back in 1994, this Director General of the NBC has stalled the decommissioning of our stations in Yola, in Oka, in Sokoto, in Kebbi since 2016 by flagrantly refusing the commission's engineers to inspect the fully built and equipped broadcast facilities for radio and television.
The media mogul also claimed that the perimeter fencing of Dar headquarters office was demolished by the Federal Capital Development Agency, exposing the property to external attacks.
This government has blackmailed, have called this organization the most unprintable names, to the extent that media agencies, advertising agencies have refused to patronize this broadcasting outfit on the understanding that the government of the day is antagonistic to this government. They have labeled us different types of names. They have demarketed this organization. It is only the goodwill and the grace of God that is still sustaining it.
Dr. Sihu later embarked on a solo protest to the National Assembly, U.S. Embassy, European Union, and the Radio House, all in Abuja City, also lamented the imposition of 500 million naira in licensing fees on private broadcasting organizations, while government-owned broadcasters pay 10 million naira.
The regulatory body, the FCC, in the United States of America, cannot determine the content, nor can it determine the editorial policy of any of the broadcast houses, no matter how small it is, or no matter the county where it is located, before you talk of national networks. And that the effort that is being made at the present moment is an effort to totally take the hands of the clock back by several years. The struggles to be able to get press freedom, to get independence, to get the Nigerian media to mature. So rather than progressing, we are now being made to regress.
Ikenga Imo Ugochinyere, spokesperson for the coalition of United People's Party, and human rights activist Deji Adeyonju, who spoke with Clearview Television, condemned the move by NBC and called on the commission to allow press freedom in the country to flourish.
Has to speak out against Kawu. He's just one individual. He's just one single individual that has stolen money according to government record, charged to court by government. So what is he doing in a government agency? He's a rogue until he proves that he's innocent. So to talk about regulating other agencies, talking about those nonsense, I don't understand the basis, the moral right and the constitutional right upon which he's doing all those nonsense he's doing. Those things are nonsense. And I can tell you that the will of the Nigerian people will surpass that nonsense he's doing. There is no shaking. But it's important to raise this issue to the international community and to the whole world, that those days are gone. We have passed those days now. Who survived the Abacha days and all these other days, and they want to talk about one small individual who stole government money and government has charged him to court, talking about shutting down AIT and suppressing press freedom. No.
He who is against your freedom will not allow you to express yourself. And all over the world, leaders, especially leaders who take power by force, the greatest threat to their power is when people speak out. And such leaders are extremely uncomfortable with people or platforms that allows people to express themselves. And tyrants all over the world, they have a pattern. You know, it does not matter whether it be Zimbabwe, it be North Korea, it be anywhere in the world. Anywhere where people decide what people should say, when they should say it, and how they should say it, then you already know that there's tyranny. And like I always say, democracy is about the expression of the people. Anytime you see that the people are afraid of the government, there's tyranny.
As a pioneer investor in the private media industry in Nigeria, the PESI called on all private broadcast stations to see present challenge as a collective fight and not for AIT and Ray Power alone. Rose Audu, reporting for Clearview Television.
Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees NOLGE and Senior Staff Association of Statutory Corporations and Government-Owned Companies on Wednesday in Abuja praised the federal government and financial institutions over seamless takeoff of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit NFIU in the country. The unions commended the government and banks for adhering strictly to the guidelines of the NFIU, especially on joint state-local government accounts and local government funds. Leaders of the two unions expressed joy over the smooth takeoff despite the stiff opposition from governors. National President of NOLGE, Ibrahim Kahil, said the NFIU initiative will halt looting of council funds and bring about development to local government areas that had been lacking under the previous system. And similarly, General Secretary of SASCOG, Ayo Olurinfemi, applauded the unit for taking the step, the federal government and President Buhari for the initiative. The NFIU seeks to comply with international standards in combating money laundering and financing of terrorism, as well as proliferation. The NFIU guidelines commenced June 1, 2019, after the governors failed to secure a court order stopping its implementation. The NFIU had on May 6 issued the guidelines to reduce the vulnerability created by cash withdrawals from local government funds throughout the country, which restored the full mandate of the operations of state and local government joint accounts to be used solely for the distribution of funds directly to the accounts of local governments. Banks were requested to ensure the full implementation of the guidelines with effect from June 1, 2019. The Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board JAMB says it has not published the national and general minimum cutoff marks for placement of candidates into the nation's tertiary institutions has been speculated in some quarters. The board's head media and information, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, disclosed this on Wednesday in Lagos. According to him, there is no truth behind such speculations, adding that some persons whom he described as fraudulent elements were behind the development with a ploy to defraud innocent Nigerians, especially the candidates. Benjamin said the cutoff marks could only be arrived at with the inputs of critical stakeholders in the education sector scheduled for days ahead. You're watching Clearview TV News. It's time for another break. We'll be back with the rest of the news. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The Emir of Maro, Alhaji Abubakar Sika Ibrahim, and the district head of Kanome Town, Alhaji Ahmed Lawal, have been suspended by the Zamfara state government for their alleged involvement in armed banditry. In a statement issued by the Director General Media and Publicity to the state governor, Alhaji Yusuf Idris, the state government, under the leadership of Alhaji Bello Matawale, has approved the suspension of the two monarchs following a series of petitions against them by their subjects. In the statement, the affected traditional rulers have been directed to immediately hand over the affairs of their domains and proceed on leave pending an investigation into their alleged involvement in armed banditry. Maru local government, where the two suspended traditional rulers come from, was a local government where banditry started when some people were killed in Langido village in 2011. 6 district heads suspected to be part of the menace were suspended by the former governor of the state, Alhaji Abdulaziz Yari. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, on Wednesday called for tougher legislations against kidnapping and banditry. He also canvassed possible state seizure of assets linked to illicit proceeds from kidnapping and other heinous crimes. According to him, this will act as strong disincentive to potential kidnappers and yet violent criminals. The police boss spoke while addressing a delegation of Nasarawa State Chapter of Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON, led by Alhaji Aminu Moazu Meifata, who paid him traditional Salah homage in his office. He announced that 2,175 suspected criminals had been arrested with 834 arms, 19,009 live ammunition and 2 rocket launchers recovered within 3 months of launching Operation Puff Adder by the police in the ongoing fight against criminal elements across the country. He noted that the cell for The call for tougher legislations against kidnapping and banditry has become necessary against the increasing daring resort to these forms of crimes by criminal elements in the society. The IGP also seized the opportunity of the visit to inform the visitors on the successes recorded by Operation Path Adder in the ongoing fight against criminal elements across the country, stating that since its launch on April 5, 2019 till date, a total of 63 kidnapped victims had been rescued unhurt by police operatives. The police in Kano State have arrested no fewer than 10 suspected miscreants known as Yandaba following a bloody clash during the Salah Durbar in the metropolis. Traditional Durbar of Hawan Dushe was held at the palace of Emir of Kano Malam Muhammad Sanusi II as part of Eid al-Fitr celebration. DSP Abdullahi Haruna, spokesman Kano State Police Command, confirmed the arrest in a statement on Thursday. Haruna said that the incident occurred on Wednesday after the Hawan Dushe celebration, when the miscreants started trouble resulting in the death of one person. The spokesman, however, said that investigation had begun into the cause of the clash. Haruna said that the suspects who were arrested with various dangerous weapons will be charged to court after the investigation. The Defense Headquarters DHQ has condemned a video footage trending in the social media visually displaying the maltreatment of some suspected armed bandits and kidnappers who were arrested along Abuja-Kaduna Road during a recent operation. Acting Director Defense Information Colonel Onyema Mwachuku in a statement said the troops had, in their overzealousness, tied one of the suspects to a stake in a desperate attempt to extract information from him. The Defense Headquarters stated that the act exhibited by the troops in the video footage is very unprofessional and an outright violation of the code of conduct handed down to guide the conduct and behavior of troops of the AFN during operations. The Defense Headquarters condemned the act, describing it as ineptitude and exhibition of lawlessness, adding that the Defense Headquarters considers the conduct of the troop highly regrettable. It said to promptly address the anomaly, the Chief of Defense Staff has ordered a thorough investigation into the incident to bring to book all those found culpable in accordance with the military justice system. It therefore urged members of the public to report any such misdemeanor to security agencies whenever they are observed. Bandits were said to have killed 16 people in Kanoma district of Maru local government area of Zamfara on Salah Day. Confirming the attack in a press statement in Gusau on Wednesday, Director General of the Media to the State Governor Yusuf Idris said the governor visited the community and sympathized with them. During the visit, the governor also directed security agencies to immediately swing into action and bring the perpetrators to book. The governor also directed the movement of 14 persons who sustained injuries from gunshots from Kanoma General Hospital to the Federal Medical Center Gusau for better medical care. The bill, he said, should be charged to the state government. He expressed the state governor's resolve to join hands with well-meaning individuals and groups to bring to an end armed banditry in the state. The district head of Kanoma, Yahya Mohammed, had told the governor that the bandits invaded the area in the evening and fired gunshots sporadically, which led to the death of the 16 persons with 14 others injured. It's time for another break. When we come back, it's going to be foreign and sports. Please stay with us.
The Nigerian police force, through the dogged efforts of the Inspector General of Police, IG Mohammed A. Adamu, in a bid to combat the high rate of criminality and criminal elements, kidnappers, domestic offenders, violence, cultism, rape, robbery, amongst so many others, has launched the Police VGS mobile app. The Police VGS mobile app is a web-based dispatch system for quick emergency reporting of incidents by citizens, for the prompt response by the Nigerian police and other emergency and security agencies. Within 5 seconds of reporting, the appropriate government security or emergency agencies will be alerted and help will be deployed immediately. If you find yourself in a situation where your life or the life of another is threatened, such as kidnap, rape, robbery, road accidents, fire incidents, medical emergencies, natural disasters, or any attempt on your life or the life of a fellow Nigerian. All you need to do is to silently swipe the Police VGS app on your mobile phone. Policemen will be alerted immediately and help will be sent your way promptly. This is particularly handy in case of kidnap on the highway, roadside, one chance, or case of robbery, or any communal unrest whatsoever. All a victim needs to do is just to swipe the app on a phone, either as a victim or an observer. Policemen will be alerted immediately and help will be deployed for appropriate intervention. Apart from reporting emergencies, the app also has a unique features such as Escort Me. Once this app is activated, the police force and other security agencies will receive the coordinates of the dispatcher of the distress. Either on the highway or within the city, a user can also report incidents, the eyewitness feature on the app. The mobile app is available for all Nigerians on the iOS and the Google Play Store platforms. Android or iOS phone became Police VGS Mobile Reporter. As soon as a subscription to the Police VGS app is made, the Nigerian police will be on hand to attend to incident reporters in a matter of seconds. Swipe to safety. Terms and conditions apply. Always remember, the police is your friend. This message is brought to you courtesy of the Office of the Force PRO.
Welcome back. On the foreign scene, the African Union has suspended Sudan's membership with immediate effect amid an upsurge of violence in the capital that has seen dozens killed. The Pan-African body has warned of further action if power is not transferred to a civilian authority, a key demand of pro-democracy protesters. Opposition activists say a paramilitary group has killed 108 people this week, but officials put the figure at 46. Residents said pro-government militia were all over the capital, Khartoum. The violence intensified on Monday when security forces stormed a week-long sit-in outside the military headquarters in the capital. It is the deadliest incident since veteran President Omar al-Bashir was ousted by the military in April after months of peaceful protest. Talks between opposition activists and the ruling interim military council have since broken down. The AUP's and Security Council has, with immediate effect, suspended the participation of the Republic of Sudan in all AU activities until effective establishment of a civilian-led transitional authority as the only way to allow the Sudan to exit from the current crisis. The decision was made unanimously by members at an emergency meeting of the AU in Addis Ababa that lasted more than 5 hours. The only words we can say to veterans are thank you. Theresa May has stalled the ceremony to mark the 75th anniversary of the Normandy invasion. Her words were echoed by French President Emmanuel Macron, who told D-Day veterans gathered in northern France that we owe them our freedom. The day of commemorative events began with a lone piper marking the moment the first UK soldiers went ashore. The US President is at the service at the US War Cemetery at Omaha Beach. Hundreds of veterans have gathered in Normandy for the anniversary of the largest combined land, air and naval operation in history. Macron and May, in one of her final engagements as conservative leader, were in Vers-sur-Mer to see the first stone laid for a memorial to commemorate the 22,442 British troops who died there in the summer of 1944. The memorial, which overlooks Gold Beach, depicts 3 soldiers advancing across the beach. May told the ceremony that she was humbled to be able to mark the moment with veterans who belong to a very special generation. A former nurse has been convicted of murdering 85 patients at 2 hospitals in northern Germany and handed a life sentence. Judge Sebastian Buhlmann described Niels Hogel's killing spree as incomprehensible. Hogel, who is already serving life for 2 murders, administered lethal doses of heart medication to people in his care between 1999 and 2005. He is believed to be the most prolific killer in Germany's modern history. Prosecutors say he attacked patients in order to impress colleagues by subsequently trying to revive them. A former colleague told the German newspaper that Hogel was nicknamed Resuscitation Rambo because of the way he pushed everyone else aside when patients needed to be resuscitated. On the last day of his trial, Hogel, 42, asked the families of his victims for forgiveness and for his horrible acts. At least 5 civilians were killed in Russian and Syrian government warplanes that targeted Syria's northwest as residents marked the holiday of Eid al-Fitr. The 5 people died on Wednesday in air attacks targeting the town of Kansafra and 3 villages in Idlib. The UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights War Monitor put the death toll at 10, saying 2 children were among those killed. Another civilian died in shelling by government forces on the northern Hama countryside, also held by rebels, on a network of sources on the ground in Syria. Overnight, air attacks also hit a motorcycle in Idlib town of Mared al-Numan, killing a woman and her 2 children, said the observatory. And it's time for us to bring you another break, and after that break, Tulu will be standing by with the latest in the world of sports. Please stay with us.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer. MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
Hello and welcome to the sporting segment of Clearview Television News. I'm Ogutime Intodudapa Ogutime. CAF boss Ahmad has been arrested according to reports. The CAF president was arrested on Thursday morning at a hotel in Paris where he was staying to attend the FIFA Congress. Ahmad was arrested on Thursday morning around 8:30 a.m. at the Berry Hotel in Paris to be held by the services of the Central Office for Fight Against Corruption and Financial and Physical Offences. Okay. According to our information, this arrest will be linked to the contract unilaterally broken by CAF with the German equipment manufacturer Puma to engage with the company Technical Steel based in La Somme. A signing of a contract which, according to the former Secretary General of the Continental Forum, Emma Fami, was favored by the proximity between Ahmad and one of the leaders of the French company, whose additional cost will reach $830,000. Less than 24 hours ago, CAF Executive Committee decided to order for a replay of the second leg of the CAF Champions League final, which ended prematurely last Friday in Tunis. The decision to replay the final has not gone down well with experienced followers and many across the continent, including some top followers of Ahmad. The next edition of the biggest football jamboree in the continent starts in 15 days in Egypt and will need the football supremo of the continent for a smooth football festival. Federation of International Football Association FIFA issued a statement on the arrest of one of its members in France. In a statement released to the media, FIFA said it has taken note of the alleged event concerning Mr. Ahmad Ahmad, who is being questioned by French authorities in relation to allegations related to his mandate. While president of CAF, FIFA is unaware of the details surrounding this investigation and is therefore not in a position to make any comment on it specifically. FIFA is asking the French authorities for any information that may be relevant to the investigation taking place within its ethics committee. As a matter of due process, everyone has the right to the presumption of innocence. But as the FIFA president reiterated yesterday, FIFA is fully committed to eradicating all forms of wrongdoing at any level in football. Anyone found to have committed illicit or illegal act has no place in football. FIFA is now clean from the scandals that tarnish its reputation, and this same determination should prevail in governing bodies such a confederation. Three-time champions Nigeria have a full house in Asaba, Delta State for Saturday's 2019 African Cup of Nations Central friendly against the Warriors of Zimbabwe. Since qualifying for this year's AFCON finals following a 1-0 draw with South Africa's Bafana in Johannesburg in November 2018, the Super Eagles have played two friendlies, a 0-0 draw with Cranes of Uganda in Asaba on 20 November 2018 and a 1-0 defeat of seven-time African champions Egypt also in Asaba on 26 March 2019. Both teams are expected to offer a sneak preview of how prepared they are for the AFCON, with Nigeria seeded in Group B and rated to go far in the finals, and Zimbabwe believing it can punch above its weight in a pool also having host nation Egypt, Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. While Egypt 2019 will be Nigeria's 18th appearance at the AFCON, Zimbabwe's Warriors are making only their fourth appearance following a group stage exit in 2004-2006 2017. Nigeria's squad for the final phase of preparation also include pacing winger Ahmed Musa, defender Abdullahi Mushewu, Leon Balogun, William Ekong, and Jamilu Collins, midfielder John Ogu, Ogena Karo Etebo, and Wilfred Didi, and forward Moses Simon, Henry Yekuru, Odion Ihalo, Salomon Kalu, Ilasi Wobi, and Samuel Chukwueze. Tanzania head coach Imalala Muneke has stated that Tanzania will play two warm-up matches against Zimbabwe and Egypt ahead of the 2019 AFCON. The Taifa Stars are staging a remarkable comeback to the Nations Cup 39 years since they last featured in the tournament finals. Amunike qualified the East African country on the final day of the qualifiers with a big home win over group winners and regional rivals Uganda. Tanzania are grouped with Morocco, Senegal, and Namibia, and they opened their campaign on June 23rd against Senegal. Super Falcons says they will go for 3 points against Norway. The Super Falcons are in the mood and spirit to take all 3 points off the Grasshoppers of Norway in their first match of the 8th FIFA Women's World Cup finals in Reims on Saturday, after Nigeria Football Federation cleared all their outstanding entitlements. One of the only 7 teams who have made it to every edition of FIFA Women's World Cup finals since the inaugural competition in 1991, the Falcons have made it out of the group stage only once previously, and that was 20 years ago. A 2-1 defeat of North Korea and a 2-0 win over Denmark on either side of a 7-1 roasting by Team USA steered the African champions to the quarterfinals, while they came back from 3 goals down to draw with Brazil before losing by the golden goal in extra time. Nigeria's closest walk to the knockout rounds since then was Germany 2011, where they lost by a hot goal to both France and Germany, and then defeated Canada by the hot goal. Norway comes into a counter with the mindset that they could be able to steamroll the African champions. Only last week, the Grasshoppers hammered another African representative, South Africa, 7-2 in a friendly. And going back 24 years, at the second edition of FIFA World Cup staged by Sweden, Norway lashed Nigeria 8-0 in a group stage encounter in Helsingborg. Head coach Thomas Zenabi is asking his girls to take it one match at a time and develop a positive mindset about the finals. In China, the African champions played 2 matches, losing to the host nation but defeating Romania. In Cyprus, they lost to Belgium and Austria but defeated Thailand and Slovakia. In Spain, they narrowly lost to Canadian national team. While in Austria, they defeated Hungarian top division club Victoria and also defeated Slovenian top club Pomage. Saturday's encounter between Nigeria and Norway starts at 8 p.m. Liverpool and national under-23 striker Taiwo Awoniyi has doled out the sum of 250,000 naira to the national under-15 team, Future Eagles. The Lanky striker made this donation when he paid a visit to the team in Abuja, where they are currently camping ahead of under-16 International Dream Cup, which will hold 12 to 16 June in the city of Sendai in Japan. He also encouraged them not to lose faith but keep working. The team, made up of 18 players, will be leaving for Japan by weekend for the tournament. Athletic Federation of Nigeria (AFN) has fixed this year's national trials for July 22 to 27, 2019 at Ahmadu Bello Stadium, Kaduna, ahead of forthcoming All-African Games in Morocco and IAF World Championship in Doha, Qatar. In a press release which was made available to media, the board rose from their meeting held in Abuja and promised to work with relevant stakeholders towards ensuring Nigeria's successful participation at competitions while pledging its commitment to grassroots development of athletes. The board also agreed to hold their congress in Kaduna during the national trials. Meanwhile, the technical director of AFN, Sunday Adeleye, presented a list of 91 athletes in preparation for the All-African Games in Morocco, which was deliberated upon by the board before eventual submission to Federation of Elite Athletics Department, FEED, of Ministry of Youth and Sport. The president of the Federation, Ibrahim Shehu Guso, who also doubles as the vice president of CAA and president Region 2 of CAA, presided over the meeting and called for unity to move athletics forward. And that's it from the sporting segment of Clearview Television. Hamo Gotimain to Ludapo Gotimain.
There it is. What a shot from Tiger. And the Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
Let's now take a look at the major stories again. As the race for the leadership of the 9th National Assembly gathers momentum, Senator Danjuma Goje has withdrawn from the contest after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari and endorsed Senator Ahmed Lawan as National Assembly clerk confirms receipt of proclamation letter of 9th Assembly. The Emir of Maru Alhaji Abubakar Shika Ibrahim and the district head of Kanoma Town Alhaji Ahmed Lawan have been suspended by Zamfara state government for their alleged involvement in armed banditry activities. And the African Union has suspended Sudan's membership with immediate effect amid an upsurge of violence in the capital that has seen dozens killed. That's the news. Just before we go, remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview TV, like us on Facebook via Clearview Television Online, follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online, Instagram at Clearview TV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV on Natchcomsat with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am N10 Ekpang. Many thanks for watching.